is deadliest? To find out, our world-class fighters are testing history's most lethal weapons.
Samurai and ninjas.
Using 21st century science, we'll see what happens when the two warriors go toe-to-toe. No rules, no safety, no mercy. It's a duel to the death to decide who is
Citizen Kane versus...
deadliest warrior.
We watched Seven Samurai and Ninja Assassin.
The French champagne.
Champagne!
The schlocky movie from this week may be the schlockiest film we've ever seen on this podcast.
I'm Mr. Pink.
Sis Blue.
So Miranda hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs.
Those men's children are all identical clones of Adolf Hitler.
Once they were men, now they are land crabs.
Amanda Bynes is a national treasure.
There's like a bunch of other shit that happens in Driven.
Is there?
Secret Nazis.
Yeah.
Secret Nazis.
Big Daddy lost his eagle.
I hope
So-
no one from my family listens to this podcast.
The Citizen Kane of the week is... Hey everyone, welcome to the pod. We are back again with another hot and frosty episode for you, as we call it. What?
Nope, nothing.
It's
Perfect.
hot and frosty.
Continue going.
I prefer hot and frothy.
Ugh.
That's fine too.
Yeah.
An icy, smooth, smoldering bit of flaky podcast.
Like the sake that is chugged in
Oh
one
my
scene of
God.
Seven Samurai. Hot and frothy.
Oh, it is rough. So hi, this is Citizen Kane versus. If you're not familiar, this is a podcast where we take one episode that is more of a classic and we put it up against another movie that is more on the schlocky side, and we ask ourselves honestly, okay, like for realsies, which one is better in a totally objective format. So my name is Jack Rennie, and I'm joined by my two friends, the one
Sean Jacqueline.
and the other. I really said you have to
Daniel Benoit.
fucking hell. Dude. That's really like literally the only thing that is like bad in anything is dead air. So like let's just do that.
It wasn't dead air.
It was dead air.
No, it wasn't
Dan.
dead air.
No, you left some
It
dead
was.
air.
It's called a pregnant pause.
And then you spoke, which might as well have been dead air. So
Whoa.
So if anything-
this is the only thing that's been consistent for the entirety of our podcast.
consistently
is my-
shit. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
saying. That's what we're
so
saying.
mean.
It's
What,
bad.
what did I do
So
to
you
have
can't
guys
let it
turn on
happen.
me
You
so
have-
abruptly?
So quickly.
You in that pause, I was filled with rage.
Oh,
I
jeez.
did
Do you
that
want to talk
space.
about that?
No. Okay, so this week we did two. I guess it became a sort of like it became ninjas versus samurais this week.
I guess
Like,
so,
it's
yeah.
a
We went
battle
full,
of
like-
ancient Japanese warrior
Yeah.
types.
Sure.
It also dawned on me we probably should have done Seventh Samurai versus The Last Samurai with Tom
Ooh.
Cruise.
But that's not like a bad movie. It's just kind of like boring.
There's a lot of like issues with it that we could make fun of,
Incredible,
though,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad we did Ninja Assassin because
Yeah.
that's a silly movie.
It is a very silly movie.
Yeah.
I turned that on at 8:15 in the morning.
What?
Was not expecting the first scene of that one.
Or yeah.
But it really knows how to get it going, eh? Like, just kicks it off in
Good
the
thing
right
I wasn't
foot.
eating.
It wasn't that bad.
Ugh.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
They really go for it. That kind of tones, whatever. It chills out a little bit. It gets nice and frothy and chill later.
Really tunes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like tomb.
Really tombs out a little while.
So these two movies. I guess the comparison is ancient. It's ninjas versus samurais. And if you're not familiar with Seven Samurai, it's one of the classic Japanese cinema. Akira
Kurasawa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always messes me up.
It sounds like a tongue twister, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Akira Kurosawa.
Abuda Buda Howie. Like it just
There
sounds
you
like
go.
a chant. So Akira Kurosawa. And then the other, a classic bit of
Can't help
schlock
it feel like
directed
that was
by
like
someone
somewhat
I have no
racially
idea.
insensitive.
Pretty much, yeah.
But no, I have no idea who directed Ninja Assassin. I didn't realize until after
it
that
was-
like the
an Irish guy.
Wachowskis were attached to it.
No, not those Wachowskis.
Oh, those are different Wachowskis.
A
Yeah.
different pair of Wachowskis.
Pretty sure.
Really?
No.
Because I saw those names in it. Yeah.
It wasn't like a pre-transition.
Yeah, it was
Wachowski.
some Irish guy.
Matthew
directed Ninja
Sand, I
Assassin.
think was his name.
Yeah, Sand.
Or maybe that was who wrote it.
It was James McTeague.
James
is the
McTeague.
director.
Nothing like an Irishman directing a movie about
Is it the Wachowskis?
ancient
Oh,
Japanese
you're right.
culture.
Like, let me direct a movie about ninjas.
Yeah, exactly.
Only I can capture this moment, this feeling.
This is my story to tell.
My people have been coming out of the shadows for a long time now.
Let's insult more cultures on this one.
That wasn't
it's-
insulting.
I know.
Ireland.
Yeah, and plus, they're uninsultable.
I don't
The
know about
Irish?
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're known for having a tender, lighthearted spirit when it comes to criticisms of their culture.
Good ribbing.
Yeah, they love a gentle teasing for hundreds of years.
Trying to see if it is the Wachowski. Oh, yep,
It's
it
what-
is.
it's
Lana
what-
and Lily.
It's Wachowski.
Yeah. Larry and Andy. Now, yeah. Lana and Lily.
Are they credited on there as Lana and Lily?
Well, it's IMDb, so it's their updated
Right.
names that
Yeah.
I use now. Yeah.
But in the credits of the movie, it was
Right.
their pre-transition names. But so I was like, oh, what? But I don't know. I was like, I could see how they would.
Yeah.
Well, they produced it, right? So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how much they actually had in the making of the movie.
They probably just threw some money at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
probably kind of
sat it
bleeded
on
a
the
bit.
edit.
It probably like made some connections for them in terms of like I have a feeling because this movie like shouldn't have some of the graphical like the graphics and stuff that it should.
Yeah,
It's like like it's some parts of it were like they're consistent and not bad. We'll get into this later, but like
Yeah.
and I have a feeling they probably helped. Probably.
Yeah, that was my thinking too. It was a funny mix of like super low budget and really high budget VFX.
It's like they really picked their moments of when they wanted to.
Yeah. Have all the blood.
Yeah, all the blood and and
just like
otherwise-
gallons and gallons of what was definitely red paint.
just like not even
Well,
in the room
yeah, it
at
was
all.
just CG, like,
CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have, I mean, I was really happy to finally get a Kurasawa film on the pod. But yeah, he made a bunch of things. Just a really big person in that culture. The same way that there are other kind of filmmakers, like the big Italian guy.
Scorsese.
Nah, whatever.
James Gandolfini.
Nah, the
Big
classic
Italian guy.
So anyway, let's I'll set it to help you understand a bit more about these films. Let's transition to our lovely boxing themed intros, just to make sure you really know, like, if you didn't see these movies, which you should, what they were like to their core. All right, here you go.
In the red corner, representing the classics. When a poor farming village hears that bandits will return at harvest time, they literally freak the fuck out before asking the old guy in town, and he's like, duh, get some samurai, duh. So a few sad-looking dudes go to town, and slowly a team is assembled over, like, an hour, but it's pretty fun. Then they all head back to town to fortify and plan for the attack for, like, over an hour. Come on. Then the battle happens for like 50 minutes, and the town is saved. But at what cost? Coming in at 207. Holy shit, even the trailer is 4 minutes. Starring Takashi Shimura and Toshiro Mifune, 7 Samurai. And in the blue corner, representing the schlock, an ancient power has hidden in the shadows for thousands of years. 200 pounds of gold to have any person on the planet a kill. Frickin' ninjas! But one stolen orphan ninja student guy rebels against his evil ninja clan and needs to help generic government agent lady blow up this conspiracy and kill a bunch of frickin' ninjas. Oh, like, it sounds so good. Can someone please remake this film? Whatever. Coming in at 99 minutes, starring Naomi Harris and Korean pop star Rain. Ninja Assassin.
And there you have it. So if you haven't seen the films, it probably now feels like you have.
Was your like boxing intro 3.5 hours long?
Yeah, this time it is.
Oh boy! All right.
Yeah.
Hey, more ad opportunities for us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be an
Right,
intermission. We should actually, for this episode, maybe I will put an actual intermission in the intro for Seven Samurais, and we can put an ad break in there.
There we go.
That seems pretty spot on.
Sorry if that happens.
So, any other impressions that people had, or thoughts, like just general thoughts about these movies, or?
I really shouldn't have started with Ninja Assassin at 8:15 in the morning. It set my whole day in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
man.
but dude, if you had started with Seven Samurai at 8 o'clock in the morning, that would have just
That's
put
a
you
slow.
back to
That's a
sleep.
slow build, though, right? That's something you like.
Can we call it a slow build? Is there any real build?
Yeah.
Is there?
Death and destruction, man.
There's like brief moments of death and destruction, kind of. But
50 people die.
true.
Yeah.
50 people do die.
Yeah.
But it's spread out over like 45 minutes, and it's in little like bits and spurts, so it doesn't feel
Frothy.
It is a little frothy.
Yeah.
It is a little frothy.
Well, it's raining.
A lot.
At the end of it there, yeah, it's raining.
And as science says, where there is liquid, there is froth.
Yeah, I think Newton's fourth principle.
Yeah. Newton's froth principle.
Oh.
Oh, boy. So, fun fact about Ninja Assassin.
Do you guys know what truffle butter is?
Oh, stop.
Yeah, stop that. What are you talking about?
Talking about froth.
It's close to Santorum, isn't it?
It's far worse.
So, yeah, I saw Ninja Assassin in theaters.
So did I.
You did, really?
I did, yeah, years ago.
I learned about this movie today.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't think it has much of a following. I was amazed to see that it was on Netflix, honestly. I didn't know that anybody knew this movie existed.
Well, with the star power of Rain.
Rain is the lead actor?
Yeah.
The ninja assassin?
Yeah.
And what other than falling in Africa and being missed, what does Rain do?
He's a
That's fucking good. don't care who you are.
No, he's like a pop star.
Okay.
That's why it was
Was
like a big
he a
deal.
pop star?
Oh, that's why they made that joke.
Yeah, it looked like you look like you should be in a boy band. Yeah, that's why that joke was in there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What boy band was he in?
I don't know.
Oh,
And then I think he like went solo as Rain.
interesting.
I love it.
Yeah. Maybe
Well-
he was Rain already in the boy band, and then he was like,
That makes me appreciate what he does in this movie a little more.
yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Also, fucking crazy shape that guy's in.
Crazy ripped.
Crazy
Like, it's
shape.
one of the most
Insane.
crazy rippedness.
Like so fucking just absolutely shredded. And that shit he was doing with those handstand push-ups was has to be real.
Maybe.
No, for fucking sure. Maybe not on like real fucking spikes.
It
but
seemed like he did do the like hover position up into a handstand on his own. It seems like that was unsimulated.
Whether there's a line attached to him as well, just to keep him up there once he's got the form.
Yeah, for the handstand push-ups.
I don't know, man.
There
I
might have
believe in rain.
But it's not impossible. It was to the point that like I remembered that, and I warned Miranda because she did watch it with me yesterday.
Oh.
And I was like, she's like, what's this movie? I was like, it's like a pretty funny, like take on ninjas in the modern world for some reason. I think there's like a weird amount of gore. I think I warned her. I was like, I can't
See,
remember.
I didn't remember that at all.
Like not all the time, but there are some times where it like.
It's a lot. In the first scene, a man gets the top of his head cut off, and then his tongue falls back onto his now like gory half head.
Yeah, so I kind of warned her. I warned her about
So
that.
good.
And then I was like, but mainly it's just like the story of how Rain got in the best shape ever.
Yeah.
And
it's
he's
true.
like, I was like, and not like too big, like people get really big now. He's like really like, it's like lean and
lean,
capable.
yeah.
But
Spry.
like, it's spry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super spry. Lithe.
Live.
You know?
No synonyms, Daniel.
Built yet svelte.
There you go. I can't top that.
You know?
Fair enough.
So, and she was like, oh damn, yeah. She clocked it too.
She enjoyed that, eh?
He's a pretty lad.
He is a pretty lad.
Yeah?
Should we just like get into these rounds, or
Sure. So let's begin with our first round.
do you have your thing?
Oh yeah, I can have it.
The suspense is killing me. What is the first round?
The first round is good riffing, Sean. You
That
should,
is
you should
good
always
riffing.
smoke up before podcasts. It's always good.
I think he does.
Story good.
I mean, you did work on that one.
Enough.
Yeah, it was fine.
So let's start with the story of Ninja Assassin.
Sure.
Let's just start with this one first.
Okay. I thought it had been written by Steven Seagal at certain points. I was waiting for some like dumpy old man to be the guy who saves it in the end of the day. The way the script was kind of taking me, you know.
Interesting.
Honestly, this movie is better than I remember.
Oh my god.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with that. I turned this movie on at like 11 o'clock last night after a really long day, and I was worried that I wouldn't make it through.
Right.
And I was fucking locked in from the first head severing, and I just rode that wave, man. It was a lot of fun. It's not like I wouldn't say it is the most complex story around. But
No.
it's not really
No.
about that, though.
No,
it's
it is
really
about
just a
the
vehicle to
stunts.
watch martial arts and a lot of fake gore.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those things where like I often make this category, but like the story itself, as you sometimes say, like or like the premise,
Yeah.
as is important to you, or like the actual script. It's in this category. The script has so many bad moments, so many moments where truly I was watching and I was going, oh,
Yeah.
oh, like the young love scenes
Yeah.
where the teenagers are talking.
I thought he was going to talk about sand, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's right up there. Yeah. Well, the director's name was Sand, the Black Sand. Whoa. Why didn't they? So it's truly like bad. Like she's like your heart is talking. Here, listen to mine. And I was like, the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
But I guess they
She'll be fine. Her heart is different. Is that what the line is?
different, special.
Heart is special.
Blah, blah. And so yeah, like a lot of deliveries were weird. I thought anyway, but like acting stuff later. So the script is bad, but the story is okay. It's like it's
Yeah,
you know,
it's what you'd expect from like a star made for TV movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But like executed pretty well. It's carried through. Like it kind of knows what it is in a way that I was kind of like, well, you know what you are, so fine.
Yeah, it was like
Oh, yeah.
it was like the John Wick of ninja movies,
Yeah.
kind of.
It's
Kinda,
very
yeah.
honest with itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, it is. It undoubtedly is incredibly honest with itself. But
I feel like you're about to get real profound. Keep going.
No, I don't think I am.
Keep
I'm
exploring this train of
exploring
thought,
this-
Sean. Yeah.
The two doofy Europol characters just drove me insane. I don't know why. Anytime the two of them were on screen together, I was yelling at the TV because they just pissed me off at an inherent level.
The you mean the one that is like convinced that ninjas are real, and the other one who
Yeah.
is like, no, this is insane. Oh, actually, I totally believe it, and
Yeah.
now I'm in cahoots with the FBI, but now I'm not. I'm on your team.
Yeah, and why is an American working for Europol? I mean, I don't need the answer to that, but it was like, why? Okay, fine.
Was it Europol or Interpol?
It was Europol.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
European police, who also don't have a SWAT team.
Europol.
Europol doesn't have a SWAT team. They don't have armed forces.
Yeah,
They don't-
but I mean, there also isn't like leagues of super night ninjas, so that we know of.
and that turn invisible.
So I think that was my main problem with the story, is the fact that they gave the ninjas superpowers.
Yeah.
I didn't like that
It
part
really
of it.
crumbles to dust at that point.
Yeah, because it was super cool when they're popping out of shadows and like
Yeah,
that.
some
Like that
cool stuff
whole
there.
element was really, really fascinating. But then they start allowing them to heal themselves magically and just like jump, like hyper jump from position to position.
Yeah.
like real shadows.
Yeah, that's something that if handled well, because I was ready for like a splash of
Sure.
a mystic element. Do you know what I mean? Like I was down for it, and I liked that it was like the self-healing thing, and it's like, was the time he did it like was that a real thing that happened, or was it an illusion, or is there a bit of a mystic thing going on?
Right.
But it was just like a splash and like really rare.
Yeah.
Which it kind of seemed like it did, to the point that I liked it at the end when they fucking have driven their ATV tank fucking mounted gun up the mountain and they crash through. It's so jokes. The fact that they have that shot, the wide shot of them going up, I fucking laughed. It's so funny. But that, that because they all had big headlights on, suddenly the ninjas, you saw them just as people.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
Like, oh, you're just killers who...
I wanted them to take that further. I wanted there to be like full flood, like they place floodlights or something in so that there's literally no shadow anywhere, right?
Yeah. But they kind of did that. That suddenly the ninjas weren't flitting all over the place.
Yeah.
They were just like guys climbing on a roof.
Yeah.
Because
they weren't just
like,
vampires.
Yeah. But then I think to me where it loses me is the phase walking magic shit at the end. Because it's like, so old guy can do it? Like that just seems...
Well, he's Yoda.
Stupid. But then our hero can do it? Like, why didn't you do it earlier to save her life?
No, he
why
learns.
Do you suck?
He learns to do it.
He did it when?
Yeah, at the end. That's how he like massacres the bad guy.
Is that he's on the ground after he, I guess, as I'm going to say, lets the gal get stabbed.
Well, yes, he does.
Right.
He does do that. But I think he just like he tunes into the Force or the samurai ways or the ninja ways, and
yeah, it seems like they kind of want that, but not. It's not.
Okay, so when he is being transported and he has that big gash on his stomach and we see him healing it, is the idea that he is, because he spits up the tracking device later. So is the idea that he's healing himself, like he's put the tracking device in his stomach and he's healing around it?
I think it was in his mouth the whole time.
It was in his mouth.
I think he was just holding it.
I think.
Was he?
I think it was like I think he swallowed it. Like I think she like fed it to him.
So then we didn't need that at all. We didn't need that element of ninjas being able to heal themselves at all. It didn't contribute to the story.
But he like touches her heart at the end too, or he touches where her heart would be.
Right. That was also...
To heal it?
Well, like touches the wound.
Right, but only to touch it because she's like, my heart's over here, which I also fucking hated.
Yeah, it was awful.
I like... It made sense in the beginning with the first guy telling the story because they would have gone for his heart.
To make
how else would he survive?
Like call and repeat?
Yeah, for what? Why? With zero reference to her heart for the entire movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
Matthew Sand.
There's some funny stuff in there, but like I thought the premise was all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Knowing what it was. But yeah, let's talk about the brief story with just like 5 minutes here. Let's talk about Seven Samurai in brief, which I feel like is actually very doable.
Well, yeah, because
it's less complicated than Ninja Assassin.
Yeah, the story is
linear.
It's very linear. It's just a village enlists a group of 7 samurais to help stave off a group of bandits.
Correct.
Great.
Which is why it is insane to me that this movie is 3.5 hours long. Like it's insane that this movie is that long.
It doesn't jive with our current movie going standards.
No, yeah.
But there are times when I said that when we were watching it, there are times that I liked that it like let certain scenes play out in sort of real time, like times that they were just like stuck waiting and feeling lost. But I was like, it feels like the editing filmmaker's choice should be that like the cuts and stuff and the scenes get faster as like the energy drives, but that could be
Kurasawa edited it as well, and apparently he was one of the first ones, at least in like Japanese cinematography, to do night edits after shooting during the day. So he was lining it all up immediately after he'd shot what he was editing.
So he was just exhausted.
Yeah.
Right. So he didn't have the bandwidth to
it was a wreck.
Cut it together properly. It
was the most expensive Japanese film ever
made.
But
also, if you're cutting it as you're going, that means you're also not like thinking about the total.
Unless you already have already got it in your mind,
which
right?
does happen, but I think that was actually, I mean, we talked about the movie kind of building earlier, and I feel like because the movie is so long, there isn't any kind of real build of momentum or pace. So we get to that like climactic battle, it all just feels like you're moving through molasses because it's kind of first of all, it's kind of the same sequence on repeat. Yeah. And it's all paced the same way.
Yeah.
So everything feels equally weighted for the whole movie.
Well, I actually I was there for it pretty much until the battle started. I was loving just like milking out our characters, giving us all what we need to know going into the battle. I was fine with them taking 2.5 hours to do that.
Sure.
Whatever. But then the battle is a little disappointing at times.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, fine. But then have the final battle be fucking crazy.
Yeah. I was kind of there until, like I said this when we were watching it too, to like their excursion to the bandit base. I was like,
Right, yeah.
no side plot adventure mission. Fucking, it's like building up to one thing. You're like, but before it's like, no, stop that. It was just rude. I was like, why did you do this?
Well, we had to see Manzo's wife die. That's why we had that whole sequence.
Well, yeah,
that whole
he needed a
20-minute
payoff.
long side.
We needed to
side
lose
quest.
one of our samurai.
No. Oh yeah. One of the samurai died as well.
Yeah, there's like
Right.
some reason probably about it being like, yeah, to realize that there are stakes.
Well, and they find out they have muskets through him getting killed.
Right.
Did they see that somewhere else? Or they saw that.
That's he gets shot. That's how they come back and they're like they have 3 muskets.
But
They see them holding the muskets. I think.
yeah, later
Yeah.
on they're
When they
like, we
show
see
up.
them. Oh yeah, we saw 3 muskets.
Yeah.
So they didn't need to.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where it really dampened that battle. And then yeah, the battle. Somehow at the end, it didn't feel like I was invested. That whole thing that kind of matters.
I wanted a villain. I did want the standard like Hollywood, like he's the gang leader.
Right.
So
Which we did kind of get at the end, briefly.
sort of, but he doesn't die in like a duel with the hero, or we don't learn anything through his death.
Right.
He just dies,
Yeah.
which is fine. That's storytelling as well.
I kind of hated the villagers.
Oh, they were just sacks of shit.
Does that count? Like, I have a feeling that was like the point, especially with this little thing at the end about how, like, well, these peasants are the ones who really won.
I like them when they're all together acting as one, but then when they're individuals in a crowd, they're really
Just
annoying.
I hate them when they're a
cucks.
group too. they're just sheep. They're just like wandering around, being like, yeah.
They're farmers.
I wanted a scene where just the women of the village revolt against their husbands being such fucking little whiny bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have meant
They all turn
that would
around
have
and
meant
beat the
them
shit out of their
talking.
wives.
Definitely, like this movie is rough for men to women dynamics.
Yeah, it's really, really bad.
Whereas at least Ninja Assassin had a lady doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. She gets duped. She gets dragged around town against her will. She gets.
There's that nice scene where her partner says that why he works with her has nothing to do with her being the most attractive researcher.
Yeah, that got
she smiled.
weird.
She liked that.
She smiled. She liked it. And she likes that
That's
in
a
the
win.
workplace.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know?
And then when she comes in to help our hero, she gets stabbed in the fucking heart. So, but not her heart, because
Not
it's on
her
the other
heart.
side.
Not her heart.
Because it's on the other side of your chest.
But
What?
wouldn't the master ninja with super hearing like hear where her heart is?
Yeah, take that, writer guy, James McTeague.
No, it's the director.
That's
The
the
writer is
director.
Matthew
Matthew
Sand.
Okay.
For sure, he was like black sand.
That's my calling card.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now because it didn't really make any sense in the movie why the ninjas would send someone black sand before attacking them. They're supposed to be stealthy.
Fair
There's
enough.
supposed to be no trace of them, right?
I don't know enough about ninjas to know whether that's
Well,
a thing
just
or
based on how they present ninjas in this movie,
Yeah, until they run into the street, in which case, fuck it, just like run among the cars.
which is was so fucking crazy, right?
it's so fucking
It's so
stupid.
silly. It's like, you cut this, you just cut it.
Yeah. Yes, please, God.
Yeah, but just like, I mean, Seven Samurai has like no women that are allowed to like exist as a person, but like,
Yeah, quite literally. The one is like forced to live life as a boy and then also beaten publicly. Same one, same woman
yeah,
Yeah.
for
for
having sex when she's not allowed to.
yeah, because it was a samurai was the issue, right? Not that it was sex. It was that it was a farmer's daughter with a samurai.
Probably also like a premarital.
Well, yeah, it's
thing.
like now, you said spoiled goods. It's the 16th century in Japan. There's going to be those to our modern standards bad relationships.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, then they nailed it. Swallowed the wrong way. End the thing.
And that's the end of this segment. Now, please listen to the ad from our sponsor, Generic Name Viagra.
And welcome the frick back, y'all. Let's jump into our second round without any delay, which is round 2, production. Was it any good?
Produccione bueno?
Eh? So we kind of mentioned this. Let's maybe skip through Ninja Assassin a bit faster for
Did
this
you just
round.
whisper Mexican under your breath?
And I said, and Mexicans. Going over the
Just
list.
taking a tally of
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. It's equality here. So we kind of mentioned this already. That like Ninja Assassin was kind of surprising because it picks its moments to have like pretty good effects. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's at least stylized in a consistent way. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have to love how like the blade on a chain looks,
No.
but I thought it was not bad. It did its thing well. Like you could tell what it was doing.
Yeah.
You know, in the scenes, I thought the combat
It was
had moments of
consistent.
being in the kind of dark and kind of hard to see, but they're ninjas fighting, so I guess that's the point. And then, but other times where I was like, oh, that was some good. You have people in here who are martial artists,
Yeah.
and you're making decent use of that, if not good use of that. Like, I don't know. I thought not bad. I thought the very first time a ninja comes out of a shadow is awesome.
Oh, yeah,
Super
that's a
cool.
good one.
And
That's
I think that was
great
probably
shot.
practical. I think that was.
It
Probably,
seemed like borderline
Yeah.
practical, if not fully. It was awesome. And Miranda was like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah, that's sick."
But that's why it was so fucking frustrating when they were like phasing into windows. Like
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
traveling, hiding in the shadows is such a cool idea that you can do that so efficiently.
Yep.
Yeah, just like barely show us anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like do the same thing where it's like it looks like a building with shadows on it, and then you see two people just like suddenly swing in out of that darkness, and they enter like normal people.
Yeah.
Like let it be that.
Yeah.
Because they weren't ghosts. We
Yeah.
know that for sure. Ninjas weren't ghosts.
I was down to tolerate the like the scene 2 where she has a flashlight on the two of them, and sometimes they would kind of disappear.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is the thing too, where it's like the mythos about ninjas is about how they would like inspire fear, and they built up this mythos so that you'd be freaked out by them and believe that they could, you know, it's this kind
Sure.
of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, how is that us seeing what she's panically seeing is like, they're jumping around, and
Right.
you know, it with
Yeah.
a little bit of like woo magic in there. I was okay with it. I was like, okay, it's a fun way of trying to show this.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they just stuck with that, I know what you mean. Like if they
Because
just
that to me can be sold as like ancient technique. Like there's something. I mean, it doesn't need to be ancient, but there's something that is sellable in a ninja being so precise and so fast.
Yeah.
And so able to like hide their movements in the shadows that to me was also acceptable.
And also like they know the like inherent properties of light, right? And can like adapt themselves to best reflect or not reflect light when they need to do
totally.
that. Yeah.
yeah, and how to like take advantage of like how people perceive what they're seeing generally beyond just like light and shadow.
Yeah.
But like how to misdirect and how to
So-
Totally.
make them think they're seeing something, you know, like this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Would
So
be
literally
really fun.
any explanation except woo
Yeah,
would have worked. Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
And again, it seems like they were almost doing that. That it was like the end of the movie almost seemed to be showing like
Yeah.
no, that it was just people like
And then they pull that rug out from
and
right
then-
from under you.
and then, yeah, and then whoosh, Sonic the Hedgehog versus, you know. Anyway, it was just not wasn't super satisfying.
It's entirely possible that I was like falling asleep during this final battle.
It sounds like you were
because
for
I don't
sure.
remember
Really?
him, like phasing.
It is
and-
the
and-
climax of
yeah,
the movie.
oh, I didn't see that.
Okay.
Did you
Weird.
see the fight between him and his like rival guy, the guy who called him little
Little
brother?
brother.
Brother.
I did see. I remember that.
Ooh, that's
That
a
one's-
that's a
a
cool
good
way to
one.
die. Ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he wraps the
He
thing
wraps
around his
it
neck,
around
and then yeah, that was a good
Pulls
death.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. The fight again. There were some really good fights in this. Like
Yeah.
and, like,
Yeah. The fights
and
were
like
great.
not in the way that were like real, but like just kind of they went for a style, but like his like first initiation fight against the big like Cockney
Oh
dude.
yeah, that was good.
That was interesting.
He's just slashing all his arteries, and he's
Yeah.
still coming at him.
He's like, "You're gonna need more than that little toothpick to hurt me."
Yeah.
And like, but then the way that actor sells, like,
Yeah, yeah, he was good.
like I was like, "Oh damn."
I did because they do like young him up quite a bit for the like flashback scenes.
Is it the same guy?
I think in some scenes yes, in some in
Okay,
some scenes
so
no.
fully like I must have missed the like place card early in the movie that said it was a different time, because I fully was like, oh, and here we have a separate story about a young ninja being brought up in the academy
Oh, damn.
and his love interest and and she's and so like when suddenly those two stories came together, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
But they do it pretty early with the
I must
wounds
have
on
just
the
missed.
foot.
I must have just missed that.
Oh,
And then
that's so
and
funny.
then
That
just
must have
thought
been
there
so
was
confusing.
two plot lines going on.
I didn't like this movie.
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Were you even watching, Sean?
Honestly, by the end, only when there was gore.
Rude.
Yeah.
And I was super there for all of the gratuitous violence. What I didn't like was, production wise, was how bad the blood looked.
Yeah.
They went
Yeah.
for
It's a style.
They went for super gory, gushy blood.
Yep.
But it was to the point where the light reflecting off the blood coming out of bodies didn't match the light in the room.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah, 'cause
it was
it was CG.
blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
I think the only time that I actually enjoyed what they did with the blood was when they're doing they're fighting in front of the screen window and it's all silhouettes, and you just see the slashes and then the across
That stuff was cool.
Yeah,
fabric,
that was fine. It was just
Yeah.
when it was like coming out of the bodies. And the first scene actually was like really sellable, and then it got progressively
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah.
I also it was particularly egregious in that bathroom scene where he's killing the
the
big
blood. And they do the heart pump artery gush.
Yeah,
Like
like
that seemed practical.
Oh no, it looked all like shiny, right?
but also like that. I get that they're going for this guy being like a kingpin style
Yeah,
superhuman.
Yeah.
But if that amount of blood is gushing out of your neck, you're not moving forward, right?
And also your femoral artery.
Yeah.
One in your inner thigh. Same thing.
I also thought it was a little interesting that he had so much trouble with this one guy, and then in the next scene kills an entire group of the ninjas.
Yeah, I know. And I again, watching with Miranda, we said the exact same thing. And I was like, maybe it's like a weapon thing. You know, they gave him this, like the initiation was like
Special
kill big
weapon.
men with like this little like stabber, but like with his proper weapon,
He's deadly. Yeah.
Très
Maybe.
ferocious.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
But let's talk about
yeah,
the production of Seven Samurai.
which is beautiful.
It's pretty beautiful. Lots of interesting shots and camera movements and stuff in there. Like
Oh yeah, every shot tells a story.
and like really believable. Like I said, like oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm forgetting that like this isn't like a docudrama, but like it's someone like the design is so consistent.
And it's like that scene that I pointed out where they yell from the one cliff ledge and the village is off
Yeah.
in the distance, and you see the people scatter to their homes, and that's a fucking hard shot to get properly in 1954 or whenever you're filming this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if they have walkies, they can do it pretty easily. I
I
think.
guess, but
I don't know what the walkie tech was like in 1954 or whatever.
Probably
it was.
I think
good.
existent.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
probably
fine,
good
man.
enough. It's
Yeah.
it's just fun. I liked it. He apparently was also one of the first to make use of multi-cameras doing the same shot, so that he had a lot to pull from. He could just like let the scenes run, which you've noted, and
Yeah.
then just pull all the shots he needed from the single take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would different angles though.
yeah, different angles.
Okay.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
just run these two cameras in
No.
the same shot. Okay.
No, he had like he had the full wide, like whatever that shot is, your main shot,
The wide shot.
the wide shot,
The
that one.
master shot.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
that one.
Okay.
And then he had a closer but on an angle, and then a movable, like someone like using some kind of
Okay.
more mobile camera, I guess.
So he was doing 3 cameras.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of cutting within the scenes. It seems like a lot of long shots,
Yeah,
like
it
long
does.
takes.
Yeah, it does.
But I think that's kind of what Sean was saying, is that it was to kind of get the right coverage, and then it was more about just like picking the one that
Yeah,
ran
Works.
better.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll say fighting. This movie loses to Ninja Assassin for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
The fighting
Yeah,
in this
the
movie
sheer logic of this
sucks.
movie in terms of violence is out the window.
Yeah.
Is just bad. It's bad. And in moments where they could have done something more with it, where it's like more 1 versus 1, let us really see something, you know, like tell us this is what fighting is, and then when it's in a battle and it's all crazy, like imagine it's like that. Like fine, I'll follow you, but it just never was.
There are a few death blows that I was like, okay, yeah, you sold that one.
There's like the one with like Intense Dude,
Yeah.
where the guy's like, don't throw away your life.
Yeah.
That's not bad,
Yeah.
but
For the most part, the implication is if you get touched with a
Yeah.
prickly thing, you die immediately.
Because they're actually stabbing pointy things at probably a lot of random people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that thing where like I wish the time was taken to give us some moments with those.
Yeah.
You know, they just like, and maybe this was the intention. They didn't seem like fearsome warriors as much as like just people insane enough to fight, which is maybe all a samurai really was. Just like any person who chooses war is.
Yeah, it seemed like they were more kind of like reckless mercenaries than like trained fighters in this film. And
Maybe
maybe
the main guy was like a tactician.
yeah. But yeah, definitely like I don't know what the lore of samurais
Well, they were all Ronin, which were
were they just hired guns though? Like was that
yeah,
the idea?
they're not pledged to any shogunate.
So
Okay.
Usually a samurai, like you served a master.
Yeah.
They were servants.
Yeah.
And you were like you made an honor. Like if you were dishonored, it's because you let your master die. They were bodyguards essentially, but they
Got
were
it.
like knights too.
Yeah, they're the equivalent of like medieval knights, where like you were pledged to a lord, but if you didn't have anyone to serve, you just kind of wandered the countryside and pledged your service to whoever would pay.
Yeah.
Right. So then the assumption though is that there was some kind of battle training that these guys had.
Oh yeah, they're all
Yeah.
trained in
Yeah,
in war.
but kind of to your point, Jack, none of them seemed like they had any swordsman training at all. Really, the amount of just like wild flailing that was happening with the swords was insane.
Yeah.
I got my hopes up with the stoic serious dude.
Yeah,
Because he had that moment where it was just about like shifting of
Yeah.
positions, and I was like, yeah, do it, do stuff like this.
Go for it.
And then it became mostly just like a
I in its defense, I do think what they depict in terms of a mass battle between like random bandits and like a largely untrained mob probably looks a lot like that.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah.
But that's also like a bit of a cop out.
Yeah.
yeah. We're
what I
also
mean?
watching a movie.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to believe that the samurai were necessary. It was just like, why did you need the samurai? Just like give those peasants some spears, put up walls.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't feel like the samurai had to
Only
be
the
there.
samurai could think of that.
Yeah, no one else can ever think. No one in history has ever thought of walls plus spears.
The score was fun. I thought the score
super minimal. Yeah,
but using modern instruments, and it's enough to give what is a period piece like a strange otherness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like drums coming in at weird times and stuff. Good use of Barry sax.
Great use of Barry sax.
Did anyone else draw any comparisons to X-Men Apocalypse in this movie?
Go on.
Well, just the idea of one guy walking around from like town to town, collecting a team of fighters, like Apocalypse does.
Like
That's the entire thing. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of movies are about assembling teams to take on a big bad. And I think this is
In fact, that's like
one of
it's
the
like-
first.
That's like 3 or 4 of just the X-Men movies are
Yeah.
very similar to that, to be honest.
No, what? Name another one.
Deadpool.
Deadpool is not an X-Men movie.
X-Men First Class literally has that exact sequence.
Yeah, shift uncomfortably.
Like kind of even the first X-Men involves like recruiting more mutants. It's like at the tail end of that story.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Xavier is still. He has a machine designed specifically for finding and recruit. Anyway, so
It's a trope that I think this was one of the first like major films to involve a like getting the team together kind
Right.
of
yeah,
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
which is why it's a classic and why it's on the podcast. End of round. The bell dinged, everyone. That's it.
It dinged.
Let's move on to our third and arguably least important round, which is Acting. Good?
Why is it the least important round?
I don't know. I'm just riffing here.
Okay, all right.
Let's start with Seven Samurai this time.
I mean, if we're talking about Seven Samurai, I would say that this is arguably the most important round because that is arguably where this movie shines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all unique, and they're all except for the one guy that we kind of forgot, and then he died, and we still don't remember.
There was always we kind of nailed down like who 6 of the samurai are.
Yeah.
And then we were like
The mystery one.
and then so when it was like, oh, Gorobe, no, not Gorobe, and we were like, that's his old friend. No, his old friend's like standing there. Wait, what the fuck?
Who
and there
is
was
that guy?
because there was a thing where he met someone. He's like, he's an old friend, and then the old dude who was gathering them said, oh, there's also this guy is also an old friend. Like there was
Yeah.
like a second time he mentioned like someone that he knew from his past, and I was like, is that this guy
Mm-hmm.
or that guy?
Yeah, I had trouble keeping track. I was also mildly distracted by that old Japanese style of acting where you kind of just like intensely scream everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw me a little bit. But
Yeah.
there were a couple of actors in this film that were really tight. The guy, the lead samurai, for example, I thought was really
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah, like it was an interesting performance to see in a Japanese movie from the 1950s. It felt super grounded and natural and
Well, remember, Face of Another was, I guess, the early '60s or something, and we were talking about similar things about how their performances were all really like grounded and like realistic.
yeah, I guess it's just not a
Yeah.
thing that I expect from that era and culture, but
No, I
guess I'm wrong.
think I was gonna say I think there actually is like that the Japanese culture has some strengths naturally in some scenes, like in some play styles when it comes to film, because they can have some ways of expressing themselves that are more understated.
Right.
And I think even in like their theater and live performance traditions, it's like a lot of like subtle stuff to convey meaning. It wasn't, I think, too over the top at certain times. I'm gonna say it was really over the top.
No,
So
but they have training in physical presentation that assists with us watching a foreign film.
It just
certainly
translates
Yeah.
to film quite well, and what some stuff doesn't. So when you have, Kikuchiru or whatever, the guy who's like, I don't have a name, and the guy
Kichiro.
Kichiro,
Yeah.
whatever, that he's playing the more kind of like mad,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, I don't believe that you're a human. Like it looks like you're acting. Like you're consistent and whatever, but like no, and like some of the yelling stuff, you're like, like there's some that doesn't, for me at least, from my viewing experience.
I agree and I disagree because I actually kind of thought that I think his name is
Kikichiro.
There was no R in it. Chiyo or something.
Let's stop butchering it.
I think it was Kikuyich.
Kikuchiro. Chiyo. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I actually kind of thought that he was one of the best actors in the movie, but I think it was because he was the only one that was given any kind of real like range or variety to work with.
Yeah.
Because he goes through a lot. He has to do extreme drunk acting. He does all the fucking goofy monkey
When he's
shit.
playing with the kids, and
when
the
he's playing with the kids,
him.
it's totally
Yeah.
different.
Detail.
He's
good.
He's
I
a
like
pretty
him.
emotionally
He
complex
does
character.
lots of good stuff. I'm just saying, like some of those moments and playing some of those moments don't
Right.
work.
It,
as well.
I like. I know this film is the starting trend, but I got a lot of the same vibes from Inglourious Bastards, So
Right.
clearly Tarantino's watched Seven Samurai 100 billion times,
Yeah.
so like that definitely colors that. But you get the over the top characteristics of Brad Pitt and yeah.
I thought the young guy did all right.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, the lover,
Yeah. The rich kid.
was he rich?
He was from a rich family.
I kicked that cookie sheet one more time.
But yeah, I think generally, so impressed with like how like everyone in all the scenes were tuned in to the same vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like villagers, little parts, like And a thing that I have to flag is that this is one of the best movies I've ever seen in terms of like physical performances.
Yeah.
Like from the beginning of the villagers, like just like having a shot of a woman like prostrate on the ground, but from behind, and then we notice the kids are just clinging onto her belt, and like all these positions, or even like really subtle stuff that are like got really burned into my brain now, of like when Kikachiyu, I can't say his name, and they always say it differently, but when he's like still following them and they're up on top of the waterfall, and then there's a moment and they see, and there's them looking down, they're kind of laughing, and then he's like, oh, and he goes into the water to catch a fish, and when he starts to go in, it cuts back to them, and they all do a small shift to show that they're intrigued to see what he's going to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they all move just like a little bit, and it's in the same kind of, like it was honestly amazing.
And they are precise directions from someone who knows exactly what he wants to capture on that screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think performers who come from like a different kind of performance tradition.
Yeah.
That's like super rooted in physical performances. And like the scene with the guy cutting wood and stuff.
Oh, great scene. We watched that again because you missed it.
Because Dan was like in the watch.
Dan,
you
have to watch this.
That. And like just like how his little shifts of how, and the impulses of when to move his sword away from the guy, when he keeps chopping wood, and then how the lines, like it was great. Really, really cool stuff in here, especially physically, if you're interested in that.
Yeah, great acting.
Speaking of great acting, Ninja Assassin. My first shout out goes to the wife of the dude, whatever his name was, Antonin or whatever, who died, the Russian guy. His wife, who was clearly like a British actor.
Yeah.
Trying to do a Russian accent.
It was supposed to be Russian, right? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And then there were also times it should be like, he was so scared of the shadows, and I don't know why he had to die. And I was like, like truly slipping in and out of it. And there was another, like the guy who came in from, he's like, I'm from internal affairs.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
That
are
guy
you
was whack.
British or German? And he's like, I'm a bit of both. Don't you know?
We keep our agents under careful scrutiny.
Yeah, I was like, are you okay? Are you having a stroke?
This movie had a lot of like just not good. Not good. You should be better. Especially who's the one dude? The Ben Miles. Yeah, I've seen him be good in things.
I think he was okay.
Seen Coupling.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the two leads, it's really more of a script issue than an acting issue. I think that they were
okay.
decent.
Yeah.
They were decent.
Oh, they drove me mad though.
Yeah, but did they drive you mad because of their bad acting?
No, it's because of what they were doing and saying, and then when he double crosses her, but it's not a double cross; it's an undouble cross.
That scene fucking drove me insane.
Yeah,
that was so silly.
I kind of liked it.
Did you?
I kind of liked it. I thought I kind of bought it. I was like, oh, right, does he betray her? And then he was like, I can't obviously. I'm in front of everyone. I was like, right, oh yeah. And
I think I'd just given up on both of them by that point in the movie.
You gotta stop giving up on movies. That's cheating.
But isn't it kind of hard to believe that she would believe him when he's just on the heels of apparently double crossing her?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I was like, oh, can he be trusted?
Right. Yeah.
Building tension.
Okay.
I liked my favorite parts of the movie were the Ninja Compound background stuff. I think like the training. Those are I think really like interesting scenes. Cool. We didn't talk about like there was some cool production and like setup in that of like the fight with like the flaming fireball stuff. It just like looked really cool.
They did get kind of samey though. Like it was a lot of him just lecturing people in formation. Yeah. And accomplishing a task. And that's what they do at the school. It's a school for lining information and accomplishing tasks for the leader. Yeah. I get it.
And so was Seven Samurai was samey as shit as well. Anyway. Yeah. But I know what you mean. Yeah. But like variations, like then like the separate little lessons of like don't make noise on these creaky floorboards and this and that and this and that, and there was just like I enjoyed those scenes more. I thought the lead guy was good.
Yeah, the lead guy Rain or the lead older guy.
The older guy.
Yeah.
Like I believed. I was like, yeah, you're this guy.
Yeah.
you like make a business of
being
child trafficking
into assassins. Yeah, I believe it. That's a hard sell, and I buy it. What about Rain? What about our little starlet?
So
He was fine.
Did he say
fine.
any of his
No.
lines?
No,
They were all ADR'd, right?
Oh, I didn't notice.
Not
that.
all of them, but like it was noticeable for sure.
Because like he couldn't
Yeah.
really talk. There was something about how he said things that were a bit open at times.
Dyson Statham.
Yeah, but it was like a really strange, like coached sound.
Right.
Because I think, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't notice any kind of ADR stuff. I will say that his best moments, and this sounds like a criticism, but it isn't. His best moments were when he was silent,
yes,
and that stuff is not easy to do.
great physical performance.
Great
Wow.
physical, very super
Dance
fucking
training.
What?
It's his dance training.
I guess it must be.
Yeah, I guess
Must
he's
be.
Probably
probably
a little
he's,
bit.
He's like he's like I think one of these like Hong Kong boy band
Yeah.
starlets. So yeah, probably solid dance training.
I guess so. But he did have some really, really subtle, understated, just like simple eye movements, or like he just in the moments where he wasn't talking, he felt
Yeah.
very present.
Yes.
In what he was doing.
Yes.
And then he would talk, and it wasn't so much that I thought he was very bland, but it was also obviously a bit of a language barrier, so it didn't quite.
Yeah.
But they
Translate.
kind of worked it at times. I kind of liked like the vibe of one of his first scenes, which ends horribly, both storytelling wise, and it's just awful. The laundromat scene.
Oh my god!
The fucking the
was
bloody.
so
I was like,
weird.
he's stuffed. I was like, what? He's supposed to be someone you like empathize with, but he like stuffed a corpse
Yeah.
into it. Like that's like just kill her, man. Why did you do that?
Yeah, and also, why would you leave that kind
It's
of
a good shot.
evidence?
Like, why would you
You
ever
know?
do that?
Yeah.
Whatever. But the fact.
But
that,
why would it doesn't? It isn't a good
No, it
shot
does make-
because why would the blood be pouring
it's,
out of the?
It's a good idea for a shot.
It's I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the vibe of like this. She comes and she's like, "Oh, like something, something," and he's still folding his sheet, and then he's like, "Which clan are you from?"
Yeah. It's like I don't know what you're talking
why
about.
why are you in Berlin? And then like, yeah, like this kind of thing. Like his energy there. Like I bought it. Like I liked his.
Yeah.
Like, there's a world where this movie like really, really works. I think
Sure.
with him at the helm and doing.
Oh
it,
yeah.
right?
It doesn't not work.
Yeah, it doesn't know work.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is exactly what it sets out to be.
Any other actors you want to quickly shout out or shout in?
Shout in.
Shout down.
I'd like to shout in Willem Dafoe. You could be in Seven Samurai. I think that would be pretty fucking awesome.
He'd be great. Or Ninja Assassin too.
Yeah, which there is.
He'd be a better Europol.
Yeah,
guy,
he would. Yeah, he would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But he'd have to have a Danish accent.
which he could do.
Just for fun.
Miles Mikkelsen also, like early years, like around the time that this was filmed,
Yeah.
probably would also make a great Europol agent.
What movie is he in that's coming out now?
Oh yeah, it was the trailer. It was in the it's Indiana Jones and
right.
the Pick of Destiny. No, and the Dial of Destiny.
Is it the Dial of Destiny?
The Dial of
What a
Destiny.
fucking joke.
Who
cares about that
film
movie?
career was so interesting until
Yeah,
he
now
was
he's just
like
bad guys.
until he was like yeah,
But
money is awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
yeah,
then he's
get
just,
your bag.
He's the villain of every single franchise.
He's good at it.
Oh, he's not a villain in Star Wars.
No, he's not. He's a reluctant villain.
Right.
He
did help the Nazis.
He builds a nuke in the
Right.
form
He's
of the Death Star.
Oppenheimer
Yeah.
of Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's take an ad break. See ya in a minute, hopefully. Heyo, welcome back. So, let's rate these films with our scientifically proven method of 3 votes, winner take all for 3 categories to decide a superiority between movies. So,
Yeah.
starting with story. My internal issue with this is that Ninja Assassin has very bad writing in it. Yeah. But I like its premise, and I think some stuff is carried fine. I think the Seven Samurai is like executed with far more nuance. It drags its feet far too much. And it just flatlines at times when it needs to go be interesting, at least for that's my viewing experience.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, you don't
right
know?
now I think I'm leaning Seven Samurai, but it's like not a heavy vote.
Yeah, I'm Seven Samurai. I was there kind of for the runtime, to be honest. I was never out of it. Even though yes, it flatlines at times, it was never time where I was like, I kind of was like there for most of it, so I was fine with it.
I'm gonna go Ninja Assassin.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the Seven Samurai never got past the premise point. I felt like it was far too slow and linear, and Ninja Assassin's premise is simple, but it builds and it gains momentum, and it feels like more of a ride, more of a story. There is a very clear beginning, middle, and end, and I feel like there.
Well, there's a beginning, middle, and end in Seven Samurai, but it's a beginning, a middle, a middle, a middle, a middle, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, sure. But again, like we talked about before, my issue is that the pacing made it feel as though nothing was more important than anything else. It was so slow, and the lack of score. I mean, I've talked before about a lack of sound being a sound choice, which can be really interesting.
That's production.
What?
Lack of score.
Right, but what I'm saying is I think that the lack of score actually worked to slow everything down that much more, because you can use music to really add to the momentum of a scene to help it build, and without that, you just have these long, dragged out, like silent moments, and even in the fight scenes, there was nothing to kind of like help it along, so it all just felt very monotone, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go Ninja Assassin.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, generally speaking, I think I did have more fun with Ninja Assassin. I had a pretty, like, in terms of B movies, it's a pretty good one.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion.
Holds up.
But there's more, like, the writing was so bad, and there's more little moments and stuff that are gonna stick with me. So I'm gonna say Seven Samurai. Yeah.
Great.
Production. This time I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna say Ninja Assassin.
Ooh.
Lovely shots. Don't get me wrong. The production, very nice. I know, but it's partly a fighting vote for me.
Right. That's fair.
And I think it's the main reason I had fun was I liked some of the choices they made, and I don't think it's shot poorly. I think there are some there's like some slow-mo parkour chases that are like, bleh, but generally
The street fight. Kind of bad.
The street fight was silly, but it wasn't poorly coordinated. It was actually choreographed quite well. It was just a silly idea.
Yeah, it was very silly.
Yeah.
And the things that could be enjoyed sort of production wise, I think were things that I would put in put in other categories, like acting or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can probably guess where I'm going. I'm clearly Ninja Assassin.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Seven Samurai.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I still think the fights told a story in Seven Samurai. I know they didn't look good, but they were still telling the story of this mob battles. I was impressed with the fights in Ninja Assassin, but mostly that movie just made me want to look at the floor. So
it's because it was too early in the morning, man.
I think it was, but yeah.
Yeah, you needed to ease into your day a little more and then mentally prepare.
No, there's a place for Ninja Assassin and in that first scene, the guy who's the tough guy getting tattooed. He's not a good actor.
No.
He's really going for it. So you kind of still are yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah.
I think I've seen him in other stuff, I feel like.
Yeah.
He does look. I thought he was Han from Fast and Furious for a while. You guys haven't seen those movies, have you?
No, but I know. I think I know that actor looks like a bit.
Yeah.
But the older guy, he's been in stuff. The one who's the
tattoo artist.
The tattoo artist.
Oh yeah.
He's been around. I've seen him in other
really?
stuff for sure. Yeah. I think he's the same guy who's the key maker in
the Matrix.
In the Matrix, I think that's him.
Oh shit, that would make sense. Yeah.
Just with bigger,
the
shaved
Wachowskis.
head. I think that's him. Yeah, Wachowskis.
Yeah.
But I think it's the main reason I had fun.
Yeah.
I was having fun, and
That's fair.
this is not at all a discredit point against Seven Samurai. Lots of really beautiful stuff, but
We're tied.
We are tied, but we all know
Mono.
Acting is 1,000% Seven Samurai. Holy
Seven
shit.
Samurai.
Amazing stuff in there. Really cool moments.
Oh yeah. Go back. Watch it all again right now. Can we?
I don't think I can.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I wouldn't even
I could
recommend it
watch-
to anybody else.
If there was still
No.
rewatchability as a
You wouldn't
As a
say
thing?
once in your life you should watch Seven Samurai.
No.
You wouldn't say that to someone.
No, I'm glad that I saw it to say that I've seen it. because I work in film and we do this podcast, and like there's reasons why I personally should probably have seen that movie, but nothing stood out to me as being like a requirement of movie watching.
My eyes widen at you, sir.
I mean, okay. I
And sir, do you accept that? Eyes widening.
I don't know, man. I expected a lot more from the movie, actually, because of how often I've heard the name thrown around. I expected it to be a little
I can
more.
understand that. I was in a bit of a similar boat.
Yeah,
I thought it was beautiful.
yeah, but
Start to
that doesn't
finish.
surprise me. You and I see movies differently.
I just, because you're so critical of camera work all the time, I thought for sure you'd look at like the shots he's setting up and the stories he's telling within these shots and be like,
Yeah,
people should like you wouldn't tell someone who like is in tech with you like, oh, you haven't seen it. You would really love this production element of it.
You know what, man? Honestly, I was underwhelmed by the cinematography of that movie. If I was gonna go for a classic movie that had really what must have been groundbreaking cinematography for the time, I would go
MVP
with
2.
definitely.
Yeah.
No, I'd go with like a Citizen Kane. Like he
Right.
like the
Well, sure, yeah.
There, but this is what I'm saying. Like there was a couple of really interesting shot choices. Especially off the top, like the very first reveal of the farmer who like pokes his head out with the stuff. That I think set the tone that set a tone that the movie didn't actually deliver on for the rest of the movie.
Okay. Well, it won.
Yeah, so the Citizen
I
Kane.
hope so. It would be sad if Ninja Assassin beat Samurai,
Yeah,
but in my books it did.
Yeah, so the Citizen Kane of the week is
Yeah, whatever.
is Seven Samurai.
I like how you like dipped your toes in a Japanese accent but didn't quite go there.
I never did. You can't prove anything.
Seven Samurai.
Samurai. The samurai's like abundantly Anglo.
Yeah.
Samurai.
We're gonna get demonetized.
Just you, Sean.
Yeah.
Get demonetized.
So
That
let's
would imply
do
someone's
the
listening.
thing that we sometimes remember to do, and that's versus the loser.
Right.
And I want to start actually. So
Please.
watching this movie, I thought I remembered a twist
Oh.
that I wanted to happen.
What twist is that?
And I thought it had to do with the fact that they're in the early showings of like the kids at the ninja training academy, let's
Yeah.
call it. There's also like, it's not just
The
Asian
Padawan
kids.
Learning
There's
Center.
like, the Padawan Learning Center.
Yeah.
There's like a little white kid there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
kind of stuff. That's clearly like they're taking kids from all over. And I thought I remembered that had to do with the fact and like how they tease that like there are people in very high up places, this kind of stuff, as well as the fact that like our Interpol agent buddy guy like survives that big ninja attack.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought there was a twist that he was a part of a clan.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wait, is he part of like is the twist that he was in the same clan? Or I was like, or is he from a rival? I was like, oh, I think maybe the twist was that he's from a rival clan.
Huh.
And that's why he's like working with her and Rain to try and mess up the Azunu
Right.
clan, was because he was from a rival, because they mention other clans, and
Yeah,
it just
right.
feels like something that I was like so ready for, like, oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't in there. In the end, he's just like a guy, which that really disappointed me.
I mean, like there is. I remember vividly. There's a scene in Phantom Menace where Greedo and Anakin fight in front of the pod racer, which was only in the theaters, and then they got rid of it when they released it to VHS and DVDs. So it might have been in there like when you saw it in theater,
oh,
and then they cut it before mass distributing it.
That seems like a plot point that you couldn't really take out of the movie, though. It seems like it would change the course of the rest of the movie.
Maybe.
I think it was near the end. Like it might have just been like an end of the movie twist,
Oh right, have him be like, also I'm part of this clan.
Yeah, it's
where like a
you-
tattoo is seen.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's
got a
like-
little fucking thing on his
Oh,
arm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So you're
And then
saying
the music goes
Yeah.
right on the tattoo. Yeah.
right. So you're saying that you want that to. That's how we make the movie better. Is include that twist of.
More white people.
I would lean into truly though with the story, instead of just like silly like random Interpol stuff, I would lean into the sort of like John Wick-esque style thing.
Sure,
of,
create
like,
a universe.
Yeah, the entrenched nature of it. And it doesn't have to be, don't make it everyone. Pick your people. But I think that would be for this kind of like B movie, it fits well. It's that like Saw level of they were working with them the whole time kind of twist.
Who can you trust? No one.
That would have been, I think, done well. Makes that character way more interesting. Makes the whole dynamic way more interesting.
Yeah.
Like from the get-go, that he's like, ninjas? Are you serious? And it's like, dude's like
A ninja.
kind of a
He's
ninja
high
himself.
level
ninja,
You
right.
know, like he works for the
And that,
rival
and that's
clan.
how he's able to constantly be like one step ahead of the death squads that are coming for him.
Exactly. Like why does he? There's no way he should survive.
Yeah,
that
makes sense.
right? And like maybe the only reason she was like tipped off to the information is because he made the right stuff come across her desk in the first place.
I remember that scene after the ninjas all attack the headquarters, their like base or wherever.
Yeah.
He walks out at the end. He's on the phone with her, and he is pristine. Not a spot of dust or blood or anything
Blood
on
on
him.
him later, don't they?
I don't know if he's got it in that scene. Meanwhile, there's just like corpses everywhere all around.
And that's where I started to wonder. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, is that? Am I forgetting? Am I remembering? Is that a twist that comes up later? Mm. Like I was like really ready for it, and I was bummed that it wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think it would help. I think it would be a fun thing
Yeah.
for this kind of movie.
If you remember
It was
this
interesting
scene,
layer.
email us at citizencanevs@gmail.com.
Email us at 50boxtops
50boxtops. Yeah.
Dot
Outlook.
edu
Dot gov.
dot gov.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting plot point to infuse into the story. I would say just some like minor corrections are really necessary to make this movie
Yeah.
a winner. I would say
Hire actors.
dial the blood way down,
Yep.
Turn it to a 5.
turn it to a 5 instead of a 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take out like
Out of 19.
out
Yeah.
of 19, take out the fucking magic.
Yeah. Cut the magic.
Or like a little bit of again, dial that shit way down. Take out the healing stuff. Take out the phasing.
Yep.
Keep the super lightning fast movement.
And like shadow work. More shadow work.
More fucking shadow work for sure. And I would say hire like Tony Jaa or something for the lead instead of Rain.
All right.
Because the thing is that clearly dude's in amazing shape. But when you're watching him in those solo scenes where he's in his room and he's like doing all the work with the sword, it kind of gives away the fact that he isn't actually a ninja.
So you both
Well, no one is actually a ninja.
But you know what I mean. It gives away the fact that he is not as talented of a martial artist as a character is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Whereas as opposed to if you have like a fucking Bruce Lee or the guy who plays Ip Man, what's his name, IP Man, Donnie Yen or Tony Jaa, some of these guys who are like legit fucking martial artists, it's a better sell.
So you've both given ways to improve this movie and make it better.
Yeah.
I think I want to undercut this thing, make it so bad it becomes that much better than of an experience than Seven Samurai, and I think you do that by combining the Europol guy and Rain's character into one, and it is played by Steven Seagal. And it is about him both having been trained by this ninja thing, but having left them and heading up the task force that needs to bring them in. And he's got his hot side piece throughout the whole thing.
Only if there's the same young love storyline.
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
Steven Seagal insists on also playing those.
Correct.
In the
Correct.
flashback?
Yeah.
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 And
But
they just
but-
use shadow work to hide his
No, I was gonna say
belly.
they de-age his face, but leave his body exactly the
Leave his
same.
body- yeah. or like the shadows they can't edit out properly, so like they've aged him down with CG, but
not
the shadows
even.
are huge.
They just like put like a baseball cap on him.
Yeah,
like he's
little
a
makeup.
little kid. That's actually not a bad idea. It's actually a really good idea too.
You wanna
it's
undercut.
similar to
Yeah.
like to have those characters be the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of interesting. That's what I mean. Like just like
In that case, though, we have to dial the blood and gore up to like Evil
Yeah.
Dead.
No, yeah, it's
levels.
bucket.
it
Like,
needs to be
Buckets.
totally
Buckets.
disproportionate to whatever Steven does.
yeah.
He's like pushing people on the shoulder and their arms are flying out. That's also a good fix.
Yeah.
Actually, that's really
Yeah.
solid.
Make it that fucking ridiculous.
Another scene that because it was actually I hated it to be, most of it was the attack on their underground construction site base.
Yeah.
Where like they just look up and the ninjas are all like above them and they drop down and start. I just thought like that's stupid. Like we haven't seen any of that. If that was a cooler, creepier, like picking people off again thing.
Yeah.
And like he's like, one guy said go to infrared and I was like, yeah, show us that.
Yeah.
Show us some infrared stuff.
Where you're looking into like a pitch black room, and then you put the infrared on, and suddenly just swarmed with.
And there's like,
bodies.
it's full, like exactly.
Yeah,
like
that's super cool.
Like this kind of stuff would have been really cool. And then he's like, and then like, and he's like gonna yell, but like a thing hits him. Like make it like the Ninja Star stuff was bullshit.
Yeah.
And
There's a way that it's really cool.
And in those moments, I did want to see more people getting like picked off into shadows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
And now imagine that scene.
But it's
Steven Seagal had been sitting in an office chair when the lights went out, and it's just him in infrared sitting in the chair fighting off all the ninjas with a sword.
And it's like it's like him being like, he's like, there's someone here. How does he? He has that kind of like.
There's someone here. He thinks he's black,
but
so
he drops the R's though.
Yeah, someone here.
Yeah.
There's
Like a
someone
Louisiana
here.
thing or New Orleans.
And it's like him, and then he like. He can't do like really quick moments, so he just like goes over by like a bookcase, and then he's like pulls some guy out of a shadow, like it's really like awkward, and he's like, don't move a muscle, and like
brother,
like,
yeah. See, great movie.
That's good. The same name though. Do we keep it as Ninja Assassin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he is the ninja assassin.
But at some point he has to don the ninja gear, so we see
He does,
that fucking Steven Seagal. But his old one, it doesn't fit anymore.
No. And I also want to say the thing where he puts it on. He puts on. He's like, I'll take care of this, and he pulls it down, and there's like a really clear cut, and there's a dude who's like lean and like a foot smaller, like, and then it cuts. It's like the guy's doing this, and it cuts, and it's Steven
just panting.
They CGI'd his head under the mask, like it's Mission Impossible fucking 2 or whatever. And then it's him again.
See, we need this movie.
That's pretty good. I really want to see the Steven Seagal ninja movie.
Yeah,
so badly.
Yeah.
Steven, if you're listening, and we know you are, please do it.
Please.
Okay, amazing. I think we versed this movie.
I think we won, yeah.
well. I'd say we're all pretty good at versing at this point.
Yeah.
We're all pretty versed.
It's like my favorite segment on the whole show at this point. I
Wow.
would say, yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun concept.
It is a fun
I
concept.
like that we try and improve. It's like for the good of movies.
Totally, yeah.
You know,
We're like a cinema rescue team.
Make movies like we want them to be.
you know, somewhere out there, Matthew Sand is out there being like,
Taking notes.
what? Yeah, good miming, everyone.
Thanks.
That bit is spreading. Okay. So next episode will probably be our last for a little bit. Like maybe there'll be chances we can get together and do some podlets that might just like pop up. But looking like a summer break is going to happen as things go on for us. So, but next week will be a fun one. Sean has insisted we get back to the Has Fallen series.
Yeah,
so
like second ever episode.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a nice way to kind of bring us back to where it all began. Okay. So, Sean, what are the pairings?
Well, presidents are in danger. Dun, dun, dun.
Is it a president in the UK?
I think in London Has Fallen. Okay, yeah. So it's Air Force One versus the Harrison Ford Gary Oldman plane. I was going to say vehicle, but it's a plane.
Kind of vehicle.
Yeah, I guess so. Air vehicle. And that's taken on London Has Fallen.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah. And I think that's the president.
The British president?
No, the American president is in London for some summit meetings, and terrorists attack.
No, I think it's I think actually it's the president of Europe that's there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Europe's president.
Steven
Europol?
Seagal.
Yeah, and then the king of the terrorists
Right.
brings in his armada.
Ah.
Yeah.
So we're watching Elizabeth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That'd be funny. Elizabeth versus...
Alexander.
That's not bad. But that's 3.5 hours too.
Yeah. Is that what Alexander's that long, eh?
It's like 3, I think.
I've never seen it.
It's terrible.
Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the flippy dippy, as we say. Why don't you guys ever get with the fun stuff?
It's when you say stuff like "as we say." I'm like, don't
don't
consult
lump me
me
in.
first before
Yeah.
you bring me along for
I
these.
will. You know that I'm not going to.
I know. That's why we eye roll at you
Oh.
on the flippy dippy.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Keep it frothy, y'all.
Ugh.
I like that one actually.